What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Baltimore Guys. I'm your host, Bazil. Joining me today is a former Marylander, former Baltimorean, and now he is an all-around traveler who's getting ready to make his trip to Africa to get down to his roots. You know him as SPK Lifestyle. Welcome, Jay from SPK Lifestyle. Jay, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I definitely wanted to connect with you because I've been a fan of your channel for quite some time. I've been following a lot of the Black travelers that have been going around, and it made it more important for me to connect with you is that you are a guy who grew up in Baltimore, where I currently still am. And I
Mhm.
had plans to do the same thing that you're doing as far as get my money right and then just leave. Like
Mhm.
I had everything written down of where I was going to go, how I was going to do it, but then
Mhm.
COVID happened.
Yeah.
So that kind of hindered my plans, and I'm still in the process of, trying to see what's going on. I'm trying to see what's going on with this passport situation, um, especially with this whole quote unquote vaccine passport. But I wanted to get you
Mhm.
on to talk about the benefits of travel, not only for men, but as a Black man yourself and someone who has lived here. For me, I grew up in East Baltimore. My parents came here in '85 from Africa,
Oh,
and
dope.
yeah, so my dad's from Congo, my mom's from Nairobi. They came here
Wow.
in the '80s, and the first place that we moved to was on North Avenue. So
Oh,
if
North and what? You remember?
uh, I'm not sure, right down the street from the cemetery, right there in the middle.
Okay. I think that's near the public school building. Might be.
Yeah, yeah. So, but right there in North Avenue before, it is what I'm sure you've been told or remember what it or been heard what it is today.
Hmm.
It's just a complete mess. I mean, the house that I used to live on is demolished. They had put a
Oh,
church there.
wow.
Now the church is, I don't even know if it's a church anymore. Um, but I just wanted to get first, let the viewers know about what life was growing up for you, because I believe you grew up on the west side near Druid Hill. You're over there at
Hmm.
Frederick Douglass.
That's the high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What was life for you growing up in Baltimore on the west side?
Yeah. So, I was born. I got a book out. And in my book, I talk about I was born in Charlottesville, actually, but my mom moved to Baltimore when I was like two. So I grew up in Baltimore, so that's why I consider myself from Baltimore. And growing up in Baltimore, I lived all over the place, but it's mostly been West Baltimore. Most of my life was on Emerson Avenue, Franklintown Road, that Harlem and Dukeland area, Poplar Grove, right, like right down from the village. And then had some time spent near, I want to say Gwynns Falls area, near Walbrook, and then a good portion was spent on Druid Hill Avenue, I want to say, right next to the YMCA, where there's like a home for, women with new children and stuff. So that's where my mom and me stayed for a little bit. And then I also remember we stayed at the old Frederick Douglass High School, which is, I guess, in the Sandtown area. So, growing up, it's a typical Baltimore City life, at first being unaware of how dangerous the situation is, but then slowly coming to realize, hey, you got to be careful. You got to keep your head on a swivel, stay out of bad situations. Don't make friends with people that are doing the wrong stuff because they want to drag you in. Right. And then as I got older, getting ready to go off to college, I remember a lot of my high school friends started dying and stuff. And people just started dying and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say my life was any more abnormal than any other Black boy growing up in Baltimore. It's the typical bad situation for the most part. It's not terribly bad, but just a normal life. That's just normal Baltimore.
Yeah, because I know I watched one of your videos when you were talking about, I believe you're talking about getting a passport, and you're talking about those moments where you knew someone on your football team and end up getting shot and killed, or you knew
Mm-hmm.
somebody else from school that just, you talk to them one day, next thing you know that they're dead. It's just a common thing and a common theme that happens too often in our city. That's an issue. What was like, was there a defining moment for you that made you want to leave? Whether it was at home, was it, Baltimore itself, or was it just like you just wanted to take a risk and just, explore what's out there?
No, for me, it wasn't a defining moment. It was just knowing I was not going to be in Baltimore, like, period. More really, I want to get away from home, get out on my own, do my own thing. But it's no way. Like, you got to understand, once you start seeing a lot of people just die, like, this person died, this person died, this person died. It's like Final Destination. Like, eventually is going to be your turn next. So it's just like, no, I think I'm gonna skip out. I think I'm gonna exit stage left. So that's more so what it was for me, just like getting out of Baltimore, just, not wanting to be a victim, and also realizing that it's actually a bigger world out here. Growing up, like right now I'm in Mexico, I'm about to go to Africa. Growing up in Baltimore, I would have never thought in a million years that I'd be in Mexico and getting ready to go to Africa. But it's just like, because when you're in that box, that Baltimore box, it's just like people in New York. Like, I used to live in New York for a little bit, and I know people in New York, and it's like they can't see any world outside of New York. Like, that's just one city in one country. There's 196 other countries in the whole world. So to think that you would have to stay complacent in one place, to me, just blows my mind. But, so many people still have that closed shell mentality when it comes to where they choose to live.
Now, do you think that that mentality, because like, let's say for example, I know that there's some, because I've done some like film stuff around Baltimore, and I know that there's people who from the east side have never been the west, or west who's never been the east. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because
I'm
it's like,
telling you.
yo, that's like a 10-minute drive. That's depending on where you are. And you're telling me that you've never been to say, nah, man, I don't mess with that side. Nah, I don't mess with east. How?
Yes,
It's still
it's a
your
mindset.
area.
This is the mindset. Like, people, like, you hearing people, you have people who have not leaving their city. They've never left their neighborhood. It's really people like that. Like, they literally won't go further than like a 2 mile walk from their house. And that's all they know their entire life. Like, they don't know anything else but their neighborhood. And it's just like, to think, well, you got a whole other side of the city that, you have the county too. You got Edgewood, right? You got Rosedale. You got, up, going up further and further, getting into Aberdeen, right? It's just like, I don't know. It's a closed mentality and a closed mindset. And it's not money, because, people who have money, they'll spend money on whatever they want to spend money on. Dudes in Baltimore seem to have plenty of money for Gucci belts and, new shoes and, Louis bags and stuff, little satchels. But when it comes to getting out and exploring or getting a passport, it's just not on the radar.
So how much of that, when you left, like, do you feel that the way that you grew up in the city and dealing with tragedy and just danger, there wasn't any fear for you when you got to Mexico? How much did, I guess, leaving Baltimore prepare you for the world? Because of the conception of Mexico is cartel, it's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous, no American should go there, et cetera, et cetera. But you've been down there for quite a long time, living your best life. How much did living here prepare you for the outside world, as far as any fears that you had or any questions that you had regarding the outside world?
Well, coming to Mexico, I already been talking to a person who lived here, and I wanted to make sure I picked a safe place that I've never been. I'm in Merida. That's literally the second safest city in North America. Very safe, very peaceful here. I can walk around outside at night with my headphones on. Nothing's going to happen, right? Not saying you should do that, but that's how safe it is. So yes, there's a negative portrayal of Mexico in the media, because all the news shows is a lot of death. Like, it might have one good story, then the rest will just be a lot of death and destruction and violence and stuff like that. So that definitely does happen. But Baltimore prepared me because it just taught me to keep my head on the swivel. Like when I went to Colombia, that's why I did not feel safe there. That's why I wanted to get out in Medellin, because it was like, it felt like I was right back in Baltimore, but in Latin America version. So I'm like, now I only speak the language. I don't even know these people. People side-eyeing me, people looking at my camera. I'm just like, bro, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't even hold a camera up and vlog without having to worry about somebody going to snatch it and run. It's just, it's way too many countries to deal with that. And if you look on YouTube, you would think that Medellin and Colombia is just like heaven on earth for Black guys, and I guess it is, depending on what you want to do there. But if you're actually trying to vlog and make content, to me, no, right? So that's why I definitely prefer Mexico and living in Mexico.
Now, when you left, what was the goal that you had that you set for yourself when you left and landed in Mexico? What goals did you have that you were like, okay, I'm about to come here, I'm going to vlog my life, but my goal is to send this message out, and this is what I want people to know?
I don't think I had a goal per se. Like, I just wanted to, grow my channel, make a living, and, document my experience in Mexico and also talk about other stuff. That's pretty much it. I wasn't trying to send like a greater message then, but now I do want to send a message for people to get out the matrix. I call the United States the matrix because it is the matrix in a sense, meaning that the life you're living is like almost like a simulation in the sense you wake up, you go to work, you eat your lunch, you go back to work, you get off, maybe you go to the gym, or maybe you go home, watch TV, you go to sleep, and you repeat. And you do that for like 65 years. Then you retire for like 5 years, and then you drop dead. And it's just a spinning hamster wheel. It never stops ever. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And it's like, okay, I know we got to work, right? I know we got to make a living. We got to earn money. But there's no way on God's green earth that I'm going to be in one office until I die. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I would rather penny pinch, I would rather freaking sleep in a tent outside than be one in the office just about to blow my brains out. It's just like, just because now I'm trapped with debt, now I'm trapped with the car, now I'm trapped with all this stuff that's forcing me to stay. Think about it, like when you working, right, you work in a job, then you save up to put a down payment on a house. You're not paying for the house. You're putting a down payment on the house. If you stop working and you can't pay for that house, you get repossessed or foreclosed, right? They take your house away. So now you working to put that 30, 40,000 down in the house. It just means that now you have to continue to work. Whereas if you could take that $40,000 and, do something, run some Facebook ads, do something that can make you like $2,000, $2,500 a month, plus you can live anywhere. So it's like we save up, we work, save up just to get this house or just to get this car. That makes us have to keep working in a job that most of us don't like. Some people love that job. Some people really wake up and enjoy going to work in the morning. I did not. I did not like waking up. I did not like sitting in traffic. I used to work at APG. And I did not like sitting in the line, waiting to go through that gate every single time. Just, no, I can't. I'm good. I can't do it. So
I hear you, and I have a confession to make because, I was freelancing for about a year and a half. Oh, no, actually, I've been freelancing about 2 years, and, things were going great. The hustle was going great. And then, as I told you earlier, COVID happened and kind of shut down everything. So I had this plan to get back into IT for just a little bit with the goal of saving so I can just get out. And another buddy of mine, we're both creatives. We're both, just like, okay, we're just going to get these jobs, save up and get out. And then when we got the jobs, yes, it was good, make the money, paying off my debts that I had occurred. But exactly like you were saying, that 9 to 5, man, it's so boring that it's brutal. And then I realized how bad it was when a friend of mine who also does film came to me and said, ever since you got this job, I've realized that you're less happy. Like I can just tell. And I'm like, damn, it's that bad. So now I'm like in a decision mode. It's like, all right, I take what I can. Do I keep this going until I'm sure I'm ready to leave? Or do I just say, forget it, take the leap of faith and get out?
It's like we're forced to sacrifice between money and being miserable, or having less money and living a life that you want to live. Like that's why I feel like a 9 to 5 is a trap, because it's like, well, if you can't make this money, then you're going to be out here struggling. That's why it's so important if you can figure out to do something on the side, like at least, especially if you live in Mexico, or where I'm going to Africa, or any South American country for the most part. You don't have to be making 5,000-6,000 a month, right? Obviously, make as much as you can. But if you got a job that's making like 85, 90K a year, yeah, your lifestyle is going to be up, right? You're going to be probably driving a nice car, probably going to have an apartment that's like anywhere from 1,400 on up. All the bills that come with that, the car insurance, all that stuff. So it's like, in a sense, it's like you make 95 on paper, but in actuality, you probably more so make like 35 because of your expenses. Whereas if you can make 35K, a year, that's a little less than $3,000 a month online. You can live anywhere. So that's kind of the thing.
And that money too, that like I think in the world, if you make at least 40,000, that puts you in the top 1%.
Absolutely. Actually, it's less than that. Because I did this for a video. If in the United States, if you minimum wage, I think put you in the top 10% in the world, because you got 196 countries. And the average median income, what you said is like, I think 42. Yeah, that puts you in like the top, I think 1%, like you said. Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. So just thinking like that, and for there's so many opportunities, because you can still make money in the US thanks to stuff like Fiverr and Upwork. Mm-hmm. So for a guy like me, I don't know if I'm just stuck in my head trying to think I need to wait, but I just need to just say forget it, because my priority is always, regardless of the fact I'm making good money, my priority hasn't been to just spend money unnecessarily, because that's stupid. Mm-hmm. Why would I need to get a new car if this car is working fine? What I need to get a house if it's a trap. So I try my best to just, stay the course, which a lot of people fail to do. But for you, how did your family and friends take it once you made this decision and you left? And how are they viewing you now, seeing the success that you have made?
One, I ain't make no success. I'm just a YouTube guy. I'm just a guy on YouTube trying to grind. That's me. But two, they don't care. Like, they care in a sense where it's like, of course they care about me. They want me to die. But I've been solo for a long time. Like, I left Baltimore. I went to college in Alabama A&M when I was 17. So I've pretty much been solo for a long time. I'm not super duper close with my family, meaning like I'm not always at cookouts. Like, I'm close in the sense where I could talk to them, but I'm just not calling every day. Hey, checking on people. It's like I'm more so to see you when I see you kind of guy. So I could be on the moon and it would be fine. So I don't think anybody, and I think that's a problem with a lot of people. A lot of people is their family. Their family is going to be like, well, such and such, we got to look after such and such. And just look at it in college. Like, you're a kid and you want to graduate, you want to go to college. Like, say you're on the East Coast, you go to like UC Berkeley or something. Well, your grandmother, who's going to take care of your grandmother and who's going to watch after? It's like all this stuff, and you just want to live your life. That's why my motto, you got to live your life. I get it. You don't want the stuff to happen to your people, right? But at the end of the day, you only get one life. People will spend all this time procrastinating. Well, I guess I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. Okay, just $5,000 more, just $10,000 more, just a little bit more money, just a little bit more money. And then like you're like 45, and it's like, well, That's it.
So,
Not that's it, but it's like, dang, you could have left 10, 15 years ago.
right. So I want to go back to what you said that you're more of a solo guy. And I kind of the same way. Like there's my group is small. And I keep things, I'm someone who can just be fine just being quote unquote alone or a loner. Whereas some
Mm-hmm.
people, especially here in the US, with stuff like you have Tinder and all these dating sites where
Oh
it's like
yeah,
it's like pushing like you got to find a companion. Like that's the whole thing.
yeah.
Can you talk
People
about what
struggle
the
with that.
benefits have been for you on just doing things solo? Because I feel like a lot of people are in this whole almost you can say trap of like you can't go through life and experience life without someone there by your side, where it's kind of like no, that sometimes that's kind of like the best thing because it's the peace of mind of
Mm.
if I'm going to go do something, I'm just going to go do it. Whether or not someone wants to do it with me, doesn't matter. At the same time, I'm going to enjoy myself because this is my life.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's the problem a lot of people struggle with. That's what I kind of talk about in some of my videos because a lot of people struggle with just being by themselves. It's like you can't even just sit in this room by yourself and just think on your own thoughts. You always got to be talking to somebody. I don't know who struggles worse, men or women. Men will swear up and down that they don't mind being alone, but that's just not true. That is not true. A lot of guys don't like being alone, just like a lot of women don't like being alone. But I feel like you can't really find yourself unless you're alone. I'm not saying you gotta die alone. I'm not saying you gotta be alone forever. But if you can, find yourself and if you can, just take some opportunity to get to know yourself. And two, it just costs less. It's less headache. Like if you want to date, you can date people overseas. Like they got Tinder overseas, they got dating stuff overseas. You don't have to have somebody to be backpacking with you unless you want to. I can get from a woman's perspective when it comes to safety, but I mean, just don't be going to places where they snatching and kidnapping people. It's plenty of safe places. So I don't really think that's a good excuse either. But I won't fault anybody for wanting someone because it's kind of more like a natural human thing, right? But I can say that another person can hold you back because what if you're with somebody and you want to make the leap, but they don't want to? Now you're stuck. Dang, do I stay in the States with this person and I really like them, I care about them, or do I go live the life that I want to live outside of that? Like, see what I'm saying? It's a tough situation. So
Nah, not worth it. Not worth it. So I wanted to ask, being that you've lived in America, you experienced the culture here, what misconceptions does America have, or you think that America has as far as the world's um the culture of the world? Essentially, you're living in Mexico, you're immersing yourself inside of Mexican culture. Here, I mean, America is a melting pot, but then there's always that term of stuff being Americanized, so it's not that authenticity that you would have if you're living in Mexico. So what do you think is wrong as far as or America culture wise, and what you've learned living down in Mexico in culture as well?
yeah, I think when it comes to the Americanization of something, that is more so deemed negatively because when people think of, Americanization or Westernization, it's taking away the tradition that it used to have and kind of making it something that's more modern or more progressive in a sense. And for some stuff that's okay, but for some other stuff, that could be an issue. So a prime example when it comes to like dating, you'll hear a lot of guys express that they don't like dating in the United States because the women are westernized, right? Or, they are extremely over feminized in the sense of like feminism and stuff like that, right? So a lot of guys make those arguments. My only issue is when it comes to the materialization. That's to me a Western thing. America wastes a lot. And there's a lot of material possessions that don't amount to anything, and people find their self worth through material possessions. And I think that's definitely an indication of things in America. Like here in Mexico, you can have a family of 5, 6 people in a small little house and, with 2 bedrooms, and they will all be happy. They will be, cooking and cleaning and stuff. And it's just like in the States, you can never think like, wow, I don't have my own room. I don't have this, I don't have that. Yet they are so much more happier here. How is that possible? How is it possible that people with significantly less, making $300, $400 a month, are so much more happier than the people in the United States making, 100, 150K a year?
So with that, um, what within our culture, since you left, are you seeing, because now I guess you can have the perspective of someone on the outside looking in. So from the outside looking in America, and the stuff that's going on between Black people in America, what are you seeing? What is your view, being that you're down there and you're seeing what's going on with Black people in America?
I just see things getting worse and worse in Black relationships, not only in the Black community, but also with the dominant society. I just see things getting worse and worse. I think Will Smith said like racism isn't getting worse, it's getting filmed or something like that, he said. But I don't know. I think it's getting worse because it's just like you have a group of people, Black people, who have been fighting for equality since, oh, who knows how long. How long they've been marching? Since like the 50s, the 40s? I don't even know. In over 60 years, you've been marching, you've been fighting for this thing that you have not gotten in 60 years. What makes you think you can march till the cows come home? Nothing's going to change. Just why I'm an advocate of getting out, because I feel like you're never going to be treated equally. Um, some people will, but some people won't. When it comes to police, they're always going to view you as a threat. It just is what it is. Even though you could never have any kind of criminal record. And it's just like you don't deserve to live a life where it's just like every time you turn around, you got to worry about, oh, is this person thinking I'm doing this? This person thinking I'm stealing. This person, it's just like all of that extra stuff to me is, that's just how I see it. Like I can't see things getting better. And within the Black community, especially after COVID, so much more crime now, so much more single out of wedlock babies. It's just a lot more broken homes, and it's almost a norm. It is a norm, a normality. So that's how I see it.
And then for you, what has your experience been like? Because I know I've seen a lot of channels. You always see, oh, Black in China, Black in Japan, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I understand that, if you're in a country that's mostly Japanese people and Chinese people, you're going to get looked at as an oddity. It's crazy that, there's still 7.5 billion people in the world, and we're still a shock sometimes when we see, oh my God, there's someone different that's here. But for you, what has your experience been like living down in Mexico, and just as a Black man walking around, basically?
Yeah, I've done a couple of videos. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna do one final video. I think I've done enough videos on Black in Mexico. Being Black in Mexico, I haven't had any problems like, uh, which I was surprised. Not even a hint of racism. The most I've gotten just plain looks, like I said, because I'm Black. And I think it has to do with Mexicans being, I talked about that in the video today with a friend, with Mexicans being mixed race, with Mexicans having some Black in them. I think that kind of ties into it because, if you're in a society where one group of people used to own another group of people, even though the people generations later never owned those people, they know that their great, 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 great grandfathers own the person's great, 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 great grandfathers and grandmothers. That's always going to be in the brain. But in a society where there was some haciendas in Mexico and some slavery, but it wasn't anywhere to the extent of where there was in the United States. So it's just like, no, it wasn't. I think that's the reason for that. But there are countries where there are actually some Latin countries where there are some racist people, especially some European countries, obviously. But sometimes it's not racism. Sometimes it's just curiosity. You got to know the difference. Like if someone's giving you like a side eye, yeah, that might be some racism or some prejudice. But if someone's just looking like it's a dinosaur, that's probably just more out of curiosity.
Now, with you leaving and heading over to Africa, I've been there twice. Um, I went to visit, my mom's, hometown and my dad's hometown. And being in there, you get to see firsthand, one, what they think of you as an American coming in, even though that's family, you're still an American coming in. And
Mm-hmm.
then you yourself get to see what Africans really are. And is there anything that you think will surprise? I mean, I'm sure you've been in contact. I know you mentioned it in a not this video, but one before. You've been in contact with people
Mm-hmm.
there, and you're linking up with somebody already. But like for here, for example, let's take like when Black Panther came out, right? That movie grossed over $700 million domestically. It's over
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion worldwide. Now, Black Panther is a fake character. He was invented by Stan Lee and his other guy, I
Yep.
forget the other guy. Wakanda is not real, whatever. But people,
Stanley Kubrick, no, not Stanley
no,
Kubrick.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, but it was also the other guy who split. Jack Kirby, maybe?
Yeah, I
No.
think it is Jack Kirby. I think you're right.
Okay. Yeah.
But people who the amount of money that was put to see that movie by Black people, you just think
Mhm.
like, okay, so if we can put over $700 billion just to go see this movie that's supposedly quote unquote representation, why can't we make the same effort to do the same thing? Because at the end of the day, that money is not going to us. It's not going back to us. It's going straight to Marvel or
I,
straight to
yeah.
Disney. And then the misconception of, oh, I'm so now I feel like I'm cultured. I know what African, life is like. It's like, no, you don't. It's completely,
No. Yeah.
it's not what you think. So
Yeah.
what benefits do you think you're going to get once you finally get there and immerse yourself in your culture? And what can people, Blacks in America, get from actually going to Africa and experiencing what actual African cultures are like?
Yeah. Let me touch on the Black Panther thing. I like Black Panther. I was sad to hear about Chadwick Boseman, but I did like it. I know it was obviously Marvel, and I'm a DC fan, but I can admit that Marvel has the better cinema movies, obviously. But you're right with the spending power. I think Black people combined, Black Americans, I want to say have a $5 trillion spending power. I don't. This can't be 5 trillion. Maybe it is 5 trillion. I don't remember,
I
but
think
it's
it
like
was 1.5 at one point, but it's
1 point.
grown since then.
Okay, so but it was a trillion, all right.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, let's just say 1 trillion. So Black people do have a $1 trillion spending power, and we can see that in certain communities like that, the beauty supply community with like the hair and the makeup and stuff. Those are like huge industries. The thing is what people want to spend their money on. It's like, is what people want to buy. It's not, you can't force someone to spend their money. Like if someone wants to build a school or someone wants to build something, you have to convince people to donate. Like with Marvel and Black Panther, they ran a good campaign. They had a lot of Black actors. That's why Black people came out and supported. Normally, if it's just us doing something, no one knows us. Like no one knows who we are. No one knows what we stand for. A lot of them think, oh, we might just about to scam somebody or something like that, right? So it's just like, I think people would get behind it if they knew more about it. But at the end of the day, that's just entertainment industry, right? There's not much you can do about that. But it does go to show that Black people do have money to spend when they want to spend it, right? And as far as going to Africa, I can't speak on it because I've never been. Like that's why I'm excited to go. So I don't know what it's like. I don't know how they live. I mean, I could read, I could watch. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I read up and lied and did stuff like that. But I don't know how it goes, so I can't speak on it. But I can say that a lot of African Americans in the United States need to have an exit plan available in case they need to leave. in case some civil war comes, in case something happens where they need to leave the United States. They need to have a plan ready. Um, they need to have a passport. That's like a mandatory. It's like you should have a passport. There's no excuse to not have a passport. It's $140. It lasts for 10 years, right? There's only a few reasons you can't get one. You need to have that passport just in case you need to leave and go somewhere. And I feel like a lot of Black Americans don't even think about that until it's too late. So as far as Africa, I have no clue. I'm just excited to go. But I think as far as Black Americans going to Africa, yeah, you might need to consider that. You might need to consider going to where you're from.
So I can confirm that one, you'll love it there. I'm sure, as you already know, with the food in Mexico is just different compared to the
Mhm.
U.S. It's just so different, and then there's a multitude of just options there. So I know for sure that you'll glad. And you're going to where'd you say? Was it Rwanda?
Uganda.
Yeah.
Uganda. Mhm.
So, and I think they're building an energy city or energy efficient city, and so there's a lot of stuff that's going on there. So I think you'll like it. Um, but for you, what stuff outside of learning from who you are, as far as your lineage dating back to Africa, what stuff have you learned about yourself being away and traveling and being on your own?
Well, I learned one, I need to stay close to a gym so I don't blow back up. That's the number one thing. Like once the gym slows down, it's just like all this stuff start to go back in reverse. So I've been just getting back into the gym, trying back and get back into the rhythm of things. That's probably the hardest part. So anyway, I already got a gym I'm gonna go to when I get there, as soon as I get there. But that's just maintaining my health. I think the most important thing is that I learned is just, meeting people, being open with new people, not being so stuck in your ways, being open-minded to new things, new people's, new ideas, new customs and stuff, because everyone doesn't live like you or everyone doesn't think how you think. So you got to be more open. You got to be more, honest with yourself about who you are and stuff like that. So I can say those are some of the things that I learned. Primarily, is just to be, like I said, open with yourself. And about me is just I learned that I can go pretty much anywhere and I can, handle myself. That's kind of it. Nothing like theatrical or dramatic. Just, I learned that if I can make it to Mexico, if I can go to Mexico, then I can probably go anywhere because that's the first leap to me.
Awesome, man. Well, look, I don't want to take any more of your time. It's late. I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. I'll have his links in the description. Everyone, make sure you follow and support the man. And thank you guys for watching another episode of the Baltimore Guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to subscribe and share, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you.
No problem. No problem.